all set for action here at the Boston Garden. There's the referee for tonight's game, number 5, Wally Harris. The two linesmen, number 9, John D'Amico, and number 23, Leon Stickle. In goal for the Bruins tonight, on our left, Gilles Gilbert, his 32nd start of the year, 22 wins, 4 losses, and 5 ties, at 2.87 goals against average. And Tony Esposito in goal for the Chicago Blackhawks, as he has been for all but 2 of the games so far in the National Hockey League this season for the Blackhawks. 42nd start of the year, 18 wins, 9 losses, and 14 ties. All set for great action, Blackhawks and the Bruins. Play-by-play, Fred Cusick.
Stan Mikita on the face-off, clears it over the Boston line. Bobby Orr with it. And a quick change by Chicago as Orr rushes out by Dale Talon. Back in action. Esposito, he's in alone on Brother Tony, and he misses the net. Has it again. Tries it in front. It's knocked away. A breakaway. Dennis Howe getting back for it. Al Sims. Dennis Howe has to go to the corner and fires right on, and Gilbert the save. And what exciting action at the start. Phil Esposito walked in and went to the backhand, but failed to connect. Here's Hodge trying to move in on Dick Redmond, and they battle in the corner now. Redmond to Bill Wyatt in the crowd buzzing. Busick intercepts. Busick to Phil Esposito, and the backhander misses. Sims keeps it in behind the net. Deflects to Dick Redmond. Clears it out by everybody. Down to the Boston end, and back for it, Al Sims. And the crowd still buzzing. This broadcast authorized by the Boston Bruins Hockey Club solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any broadcast, rebroadcast, or other use of the accounts and descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the Boston Bruins or TV 38 is prohibited. Esposito, here it is.
Great play by Phil Esposito, but watch Tony now. Phil lets up here just a little bit. Doesn't take it quite far enough. If he'd taken a little farther, he might have been able to use that backhander to flip it back in that top corner, but a good move by brother Tony Esposito.
Hodge has it. Back to Sims, moving well in. The shot blocked by Bill White. And White now moves it out to center ice. Mackey with it to Dale Talon. 2-on-1. Over the line. Broken up by Orr. He broke up Talon, who had Dennis Hull free and clear on the left wing side. Tried to hit him with a pass, and Orr stopped it. Dennis Hull keeps it in to Dale Talon. Can't connect with Pico Mackey, and out comes Busick. Pass stopped, deflects to Mackey. He's offside on the play. 8:32 left, just underway, Boston Garden. And lots of excitement after the Esposito failed to beat brother Tony. Down came Dennis Hull with a good shot on net, but fortunately had to go fairly wide into the boards to get the shot away.
One of the dangers from the Chicago Blackhawks' point of view of the system they're playing with the defenseman standing up on the red line is the fact that when the defenseman carries the puck, we'll go into that in a minute.
Puck driven in by Phil Russell, taken by Vadnais, who's on with Dallas Smith. Sanderson and Vadnais. Mikita takes Sanderson out as Vadnais rushes. Clears it over the line, gets it again, and the play ruled offside.
When the defenseman carries the puck on offense, the center iceman is usually open and uncovered because the center iceman for the Blackhawks is moving up to forecheck. And that's what happened there. The defense, Chicago's defense moved up the center, or the perfect pass in behind the defense. Esposito moving beautifully, and he whooped in on Tony, but Tony Esposito made a great move.
Phil Russell now can't connect with Mikita. Dallas Smith to Sanderson to Forbes. And again, it's ruled offside as Forbes ripped it off after moving over the blue line, and the face-off call. Sanderson, Cashman, and Forbes the line for Boston with Vadnais and Dallas Smith. Stan Mikita at center, Cliff Carl at right wing. At left wing, John Marks. On defense, Phil Russell with Doug Jarrett in front of Tony Esposito. We're at the 2-minute mark, just about, of the first period, and no score. Boston and Chicago. The draw to Dallas Smith over to Vadnais. And a bouncer in on Tony Esposito for the save for Phil Russell. Trying to move it out. Marks does. Mikita breaks by Vadnais. Over the line. Cuts inside as Hull down on the play. And no call. Out comes Cashman as Mikita was really racked up. Cashman trying to move in with Vadnais. The play offside.
Good shift by Stan Mikita. He came down that left side. He faked Dallas Smith to the outside, which of course would be to Dallas's right. And then he cut back on. Watch him cut on the inside. Now Dallas just braked himself just a little bit. He caught him with the leg. Might have been a penalty call, but there was no call by the referee.
Vadnais loses to Marks. Marks over the line for Jarrett. Broken up by Vadnais. Vadnais out into center ice for Forbes. Checked by Cliff Carl. Fed in. Controlled by Jarrett. Around for John Marks, the left wing on the line. Checked by Sanderson. And Cashman. Sanderson for Dallas Smith. For Vadnais. Fires. Blocked. Vadnais broken up. Gets it again for Cashman. In for Sanderson. Right near the net. In front. Broken up by Tony Esposito, or Forbes would have had an open net. Out comes Cliff Carl. Carl over the line. Forbes checking back. Puck kept in. Makita. A drive. Wide. John Marks with it. John Marks in the corner. Behind the net. Makita still with it. Loses to Vadnais on the pass. And Vadnais starts it out. Flip pass for Dallas Smith. Dallas Smith ragging it now as Boston changes on the fly. In for Marcotte. And he ran into Cashman. And the play ruled offside. There's a break in the action with the score: Boston nothing, Chicago nothing. Let's pause for this message. Pep Quidlin behind the Boston bench. The face-off: Shepard, Marcotte, O'Reilly line against Martin. Darcy Rhoda on the left and Jim Pappen on the right. And Bill White to Dick Redmond. And the Blackhawks break it out. Long shot, a dipper as he cut that on edge, and Gilbert made the stop. Off for Shepard. Stopped by Bill White at the line. Fed in. Stopped by Orr. Quick feed out looking for Marcotte. It goes wide. Back for it, Bill White first. And it is called for icing. Had a chance at the Canadian consulate today to see the film series and the highlights of the Team Canada-Russia series. And Bill White, one of the standouts, but Phil Esposito and Paul Henderson, that was some series.
Well, I'll tell you, Fred, the 4 games that we saw, witnessed, and very fortunately in Canadian cities, a tremendous series.
White gets it outside the line. A quick pass for Martin. For Dick Redmond. Shot in, saves Gilbert. He controlled the rebound, but Pappen behind the net gets it, hit by Sims. Shepard spilled. O'Reilly trying to come out. Up for Orr, fails to connect. And Dick Redmond with it for Chicago. Different style by Chicago. Of course, they were missing Stan Mikita in that last game, that 2-2, where they played very defensive throughout the game, and the Bruins tied it at the end. But this more open. From the early minutes indication as Shepard clears it in, stopped by Esposito. Clears it away from Marcotte in the corner. Pass to O'Reilly from Shepard, tried to set up Orr, and it's knocked to center ice by Chicago. Orr right back over the line for Marcotte, watched by White. Marcotte's pass checked. Martin leaving it for White. Back for Martin, checked by O'Reilly, but White covers. Sends Dick Redmond away. Good rushing defenseman. Redmond right up the middle. Over the line, trying to penetrate. Tough angle shot, and he missed. Went deep, and Mackey. And now Martin keeps it in. And Marcotte knocks it out. Shepard on it. Back for Marcotte. Looking for Orr. Didn't connect with him. Dennis Howell, a long pass. Develops into a shot on Gilbert for a save, and Al Sims with it. 14:47 left, first period. Phil Esposito broken up by Chico Mackey, but gets control again. Off for Orr. For Al Sims, center ice. In for Esposito, in alone. Here he comes. A save by Tony. Incredible. Phil Esposito has been in alone twice. Back comes Dennis Howell. Check. Dale Talon keeps it in. To Dennis Howell behind the net, broken up by Busick. The puck fought for. Busick digs it out for Hodge. Incredible. Phil Esposito in twice. In the early minutes here. Dennis Howell intercepts on Sims. Hodge knocks down Dennis Howell. Dale Talon at center. Chico Mackey at right wing. Sims trying to come out. No score in the game, and 2 superb clean-cut chances by Phil Esposito. A little bit more harassed this time. Now Sims from center right. Center ice moves it in. Back for it first, Phil Russell. Up for Dennis Howell. Broken up by Hodge for Busick. And when Busick got control, batted it in deep, Phil Esposito was offside.
Second breakaway for Phil Esposito, but this one was only a partial breakaway. I think you got to credit Phil Russell for a very fine defensive play on Phil Esposito. He drew Tony to the other side this time, to Tony's right, and I think he had that opening, but he went to shoot the puck, and as he did, Russell hooked him from the side and knocked the puck off his stick. I don't think he ever really got a shot away.
Doug Jarrett with it for Chicago. 13:35 left. First period, no score. Talon trying to come out. Dennis Hull checked by Phil Esposito. Phil Esposito moves it in the corner. Jarrett after him. Checks him off the puck. Dennis Hull moves it around. Hodge on his off wing. Back to Dallas Smith. Hit it on the go, and it went wide. Phil Russell away from Hodge. Starts it out for the Hawks. Up to Dennis Hull. To Dale Talon. Talon over the line. Blocked by Vadnais. Vadnais behind the net. Checked by Mackey. Vadnais controlling. 7 minutes played. First period. No score. And Vadnais right up the middle. Fakes Russell, but is broken up by Jarrett as Russell made a move at him, and those Chicago defensemen really play up. There they are now, just outside the Boston line as the Bruins' Vadnais winds up, starting out. Here comes Vadnais again. This time a clear in, caught by Tony Esposito. Dropped for Russell. Broken up by Phil Esposito, deflects to Hodge. Clear in for Phil Esposito, but Tony beats him to it. Trying to move it out, stopped by Dallas Smith inside the line. His pass blocked, gets it again. To Phil Esposito in the corner. A centering pass blocked by Russell, and Russell jams it up. Can't get a face-off, though. And it's Hodge to Busick, looking for Vadnais. Fed in back deep for Hodge. To Dallas Smith, closing the shot. Save! Hodge with it. Wheels. A save. Loose. Busick trying to poke it in. And it is tied up by Talon as the Bruins did everything but score. And a penalty coming up on Chicago for handling the puck. With the score, Boston nothing, Chicago nothing. Let's pause for this.
For a long time now, State Street...
Phil Esposito's getting a 2-minute penalty for holding here. In front right there, I guess that's where it came. We thought that they were going to get a penalty for falling on the puck. Talon dropped right on the puck and put his hand over it, and of course that is illegal. But Esposito's for holding at 8:01.
So Boston gets the penalty. Phil Esposito for holding, and Shepard, Marcotte, Orr, and Sims as Redmond rushes. Drops it for Marks. In for Makita. Quick shot kicked out by Gilbert. Makita on it again. Can't connect with Carl. Carl now behind the net. Checked by Orr. They battle in the boards. Dug out by Orr. But Redmond keeps it inside. Stopped by Shepard. Now it's fed in deep. Carl hit by Sims. Makita has it very tricky behind the net. Holding. Maneuvering. A pass back. Goes to Bill White outside the line. Makita a key on their power play. White fails to connect with Carl, and this is icing. Sims there first. 1:19 left on the penalty to Phil Esposito, who probably felt he's been held enough in front of that net, so he grabbed, I believe it was Talon.
Not dressed tonight for the Boston Bruins. Darrell Edistran still trying to recover from that bruised knee. He is skating, but has not been cleared by the doctors for action. Of course, Ken Broderick is not dressed. Ross Brooks is the backup goaltender. Mike Weiser, the backup goaltender for Chicago.
The draw to Chicago. They now have Martin Tappan with Darcy Rhoda and Dick Redmond. Here's Redmond rushing. In for Martin. The play is offside at the Boston line. And now let's pause for this program reminder.
The master of the misspoken word. It's Norm Crosby and Everything Goes. Weeknights at 8:30 on TV 38. All fun and games.
The draw to Redmond again, who's on with Bill White. Now to Darcy Rhoda. Drops it for Redmond. The shot. Save! Score by Pip Martin as it just stayed there as it came on a deflection off the skate of Gilbert. Just laid at the crease, and Martin had an empty net goal.
Fine play by Darcy Rhoda, the fine youngster for the Chicago Blackhawks. Watch this nice little drop pass to the back here. Redmond with Orr as a screen. The save by Gilbert. Here comes Martin now. He had an open net right here. And he just scooped it in, making no mistake, lifting it up into that top corner. Martin gets the goal. That's his 20th of the year. Rhoda will get an assist on the play on that nice pass to Redmond.
Makita breaks up Vadnais as he started to move. Sanderson now whips it around the boards. Forbes checked by Carl to Makita. A backhander, a save by Gilbert. He sweeps it around for Wayne Cashman. Pitt Martin the goal. Darcy Roeder and Dick Redmond will have the assist. 20th of the year for Pitt Martin. Forbes clears it out, but Jarrett moves it right back in. Sanderson trying to move it out with Forbes, but Carl is there. Now Forbes with it behind the Boston net. 1-0 Chicago on a power play goal. Vadnais trying to come out. Solid forechecking by Chicago. Vadnais checked twice, but Dallas Smith rushes. Intercepted by John Marks. Chicago's solid defensive work now as Marks sent a skipper that just went wide of the net and the right pad of Gilbert. Forbes trying to move out on Carl. Checked there by Carl on the faceoff in the Boston zone. 9:56 left first period. 1-0 Chicago.
The Chicago goal on the power play, their 32nd of the year. Martin, his 20th goal of the year from Darcy Roeder and Redmond at 9:02. Martin with the open net. Beat Gilbert easily.
The draw to Phil Russell. Quick shot is wide. Long rebound. Cashman on a break to Sanderson with Forbes. Elects to go instead to Cashman. And that did not work. As Forbes was heading looking for the lead pass, and he was outside as Sanderson tried a behind-the-back maneuver to Wayne Cashman. The draw to Vadnais. Drives it in wide of Tony Esposito. Russell checked by Forbes. And a face-off call by referee Harris out to the right of Tony Esposito. In case you missed last night's games, Montreal defeated Toronto 4-3. Rangers 4-2, 4-1 over Atlanta. The draw to Vadnais. The shot high over the head of Tony Esposito and Jarrett on it. For Stan Mikita. Now to Cliff Carl in the Hawks break. Driven in wide of Gilbert. Back for Vadnais. For Cashman. Can't connect with Sanderson. Back in the Chicago end, Phil Russell. Checked by Cashman in the corner. They battle. Cashman still digging. Sanderson there. Trying to make a play to Vadnais. Vadnais keeps it in. And now it's dug out by Marks. Dallas Smith right up over the line. Left to Forbes. Forbes shot. Saved Tony Esposito right on the mark. Tony held the short side. The clear around the boards. Sanderson golfs it up. Marks battle, but Mikita breaks it out. Coming up on Vadnais. Broken up by Dallas Smith and Vadnais with it behind the net. Up for Forbes. It's along the dasher. Trying to come out. Does with Dallas Smith with Sanderson and Cashman. Left to Sanderson. Quick shot blocked by Bill White. White lost his stick. Kicks a pass over to Redmond. And back to Vadnais. Keeps it in. Drives from the line. Good glove save by Tony Esposito. There's a break in the action with the score Chicago 1 and Boston 0. Let's pause for this message.
This winter, you need all the summer you can get.
Chasing the sunshine, looking to warm my soul and body.
With Eastern Airlines' new personalized vacation planning, you can have a vacation as unique as you are. Talk to your travel agent or call the airline that's working harder for your dollar. Get the most summer this winter from Eastern, the wings of man.
Chicago 1, Boston 0. 8:25 left to play first period. The only goal so far, Martin, his 20th of the year from Roeder and Redmond at 9:02 on the power play. Esposito was in the penalty box for holding at 8:01. Called by referee Wally Harris right in front of the Chicago net.
Draw to Al Sims. Wrist shot in. Save Tony Esposito. Puck loose as he lost it for the moment. And now Hodge checking Redmond. Trying to pass it in front. Can't. White checks it. Still battles. Still a battle. And a whistle by Harris and the face-off call as Mackey is back to help out Bill White against Hodge. And Tony had that shot and then lost it dangerously.
Dennis Hull back after an injury. He did not play in the 5-5 tie at Chicago. Usually plays with Martin and Papin on that left side, but tonight he's playing with Mackey at center and Dale Talon on the right side. Now Talon was acquired. Here's that drive by Sims. Tony looked like he had this, but it seemed to squirt out of his glove as Hodge checked him in front, and then it was tied up against the boards. Talon acquired from the Vancouver Canucks. as Desjardins, or Gary Smith rather, the goaltender, went over to Vancouver.
The draw to Al Sims. The drive and a save by Tony Esposito. Good hard shot by Sims. Esposito trying to center it. Check. And Dale Talon is out with Dennis Hull. Dennis Hull clears it in the corner. Al Sims quickly up. Stopped by White. For Talon. For Dennis Hull. Broken up. Or sends Busick away on the left side. Busick over the line. Slides it in. Tony Esposito blocks it. Busick digs for it. Away, up in front, Orr. A flip and tough angle as Esposito was down. Tony, puck batted in the air by Hodge, called for a faceoff outside the line. And Bobby Orr almost had this, but he was at a tough angle.
Here's a replay coming up. Busick with the puck. Tony Esposito feels it. Orr will move in as White tries to clear it. And here it comes back. Orr moving in. Esposito, Orr with it. Just touched in front. And Tony Esposito once again very agile in the Chicago net.
Savard is at center, and he hasn't played in a stretch with Marcotte at left wing, Odlison at right. Puck deflects out, and Darcy Roeder collecting it over the red line is ruled offside as Pep Quidlin is going with, in essence, a fourth line here.
And I wonder, Savard not playing with a helmet, Fred, whether he discarded it altogether or not. But he had one shift in a game just recently where he did not wear the helmet, but we sort of assumed that it was a sudden change as he replaced Esposito. But he doesn't have it on tonight.
He broke a stick on the faceoff against Martin. Sims clears it in. Savard is centering Odlison on the right and Marcotte on the left, and Pitt Martin sends Roeder away, broken up by Orr. Fed back, intercepted by Jarrett. Jarrett a clear in, a bouncer on Gilbert. 7 minutes left in the first period. Chicago leads 1-0. A power play goal by Pitt Martin. Bobby Orr starts it out carefully. Savard falling down, gets back on side as Orr moves it in. But Russell on it quickly. And this clear, too far ahead. Back for it, Sims and Martin. And icing called on the play.
That trade, Dale Talon came over to Chicago for Jerry Korab and Gary Smith.
With the score, Chicago 1 and Boston 0. Let's pause for this.
What you doing on your day off? Or what you doing on your day off? CJ5, it's fun to drive.
Meet the ultimate get-up-and-go vehicle, the four-wheel drive Jeep CJ5. She makes work easy, roughhousing fun.
What you doing on your day off? What you doing on your day off, Jeep CJ5?
If you've got some tough four-wheeling in mind, I wouldn't try it on anything but a genuine Jeep CJ5.
Face off now to the left of Tony Esposito. 6:36 left. Sanderson now. Forbes and Cashman with Vadnais and Dallas Smith. The draw to Chicago. Dick Redmond with it. They lead 1-0. Redmond lost his control on the pass, and Vadnais is back to fire one deflected into the crowd by Dick Redmond. Face-off is called just at the Chicago blue line. With 6:20 left in the first period. Phil Esposito, the only penalty of the game for holding at 8:01, and at 9:02, Pitt Martin scoring a power play goal for Chicago. Vadnais slides it in. Back for it. Redmond to White. Intercepted Dallas Smith. Blocked. Cashman trying to flip it back. Goes to the Boston line. Again, tight defensive work by Chicago, demonstrating some of the work they showed in the last game here. 2-2. His Sanderson stealing from Bill White over the line. Good shot and a beautiful save by Tony Esposito as Sanderson let go a blistering drive.
Great drive by Derek Sanderson. Individual effort. He intercepted a pass at center here. Bill White trying to make this pass to the center. Sanderson with a slap shot off that left side. Esposito coming out to block the angle, and he made a great stop.
Forbes keeps it in. can't center it. White intercepts to Dave Crisco. First appearance, playing left wing. Carl moves by Dallas Smith into the corner, bumps with Forbes. They battle. Dug out around the corner, and Cashman there, winding up for Boston. Crisco more defensive forward than Darcy Rhoda. Here's Cashman, beautiful stick handle, breaks it out, picks up Sanderson. Left to Forbes. Can't get it back with White intercepting. And behind the net, Cashman digging in the corner. Makita checked by Sanderson. Vadnais slides it back in deep. Fine rush by Cashman. But you see the value of White's defensive play. He made a big move. Bruins break it up. Not inside the line, though, and Cashman plays it back. 5 minutes left in the first period. 1-0 Chicago. Here's Busick to Sanderson. Can't move in. And Mackey breaks it out. Left to Crisco. Back for Dale Talon. Up for Mackey. His shot went wide. Talon keeps it in. Fires in front. Knocked away by Dallas Smith. Almost in the net off Dallas's glove as Cashman starts it out. Now for Sanderson. Back for Cashman. Can't combine with Sanderson. With it, Dennis Howell, Chico Mackey. Mackey centers it. And Vadnais clears it. All the way to the Chicago end, and it will be called for icing as Phil Russell is back. There's a break in the action with the score, Chicago 1 and Boston 0. Let's pause for this message.
Ready, hockey experts? It's Budweiser Memory Flogger time. Got a full can or bottle of Budweiser ready? It'll really add to your enjoyment of tonight's game and tonight's Memory Flogger, because Bud is brewed to stop thirst cold. Speaking of cold, that word's a clue to the question I'm going to ask. In the 1919 Stanley Cup playoffs, nobody won. Do you know why? We'll have the answer later in the game. Till then, enjoy yourself. You know how.
Face-off to the right of Gilbert. Talon on the face-off against Phil Esposito. To Hodge to Orr. 4:12 left. First period, 1-0 Chicago as Orr starts it out. Carries himself. In for Phil Esposito, and he was checked by Talon. Couldn't get the shot away as Orr hit him with a pass. And Dale Talon right back. Moving well. The shot blocked. Deflects to Busick. Around the corner for Hodge, for Orr again. Orr starts it out. Everybody back for Chicago. They have a 1-0 lead. Orr knocked down by Phil Russell, and he's going out for tripping. Russell for tripping Orr, and Boston will have the man advantage.
First Chicago penalty of the hockey game, number 5. Phil Russell goes into the penalty box. This will be called at 16 minutes, 25 seconds of the first period. Chicago 1, Boston 0. Now let's pause 5 seconds for station identification.
This is WSBK-TV, Channel 38, Boston.
There's the tripping call as Orr tries to cut over from that right side through the center to the left wing, and Russell with his leg out dumps him down. And you can see that tight Chicago defense. 3 players right there in the center.
Esposito, Busick, Hodge with Vadnais and Orr. Crisco is out there with Chico Mackey, Jarrett, and White. And the draw is cleared by Bill White. 3:30 left in the first period. Chicago getting a goal in a power play by Pitt Martin. That's the only goal of the game. And Boston now with their first man advantage opportunity. Started out Phil Esposito to Orr. Plenty of room there. Wheels in deep. Still going. Still holding. Puts it to Phil Esposito, and it bounced away from him. And Crisco breaks out with Chico Mackey. And they were offside at the Boston blue line.
One thing I noticed, Fred, on that last shift prior to the penalty, Esposito had 2 breakaways cutting through the center as Orr was carrying the puck on both occasions. The third time, Talon was right with him. Now, Billy Ray may have instructed Talon to stay with Esposito, do not do the forechecking as much as he was doing before, but try to pick up Phil through the center, because Bobby and Phil are working that very well, or they did earlier. They may have to stop now because Talon is on Esposito.
Vadnais clears it in. Tony Esposito blocks it for Bill White. White clears it up the boards. And he has been a solid factor on defense for Chicago. And the All-Star, and you can see why in key situations. 1:05 left on the penalty as Orr starts it out. For Hodge. Fed back in off Phil Esposito's stick to Busick. Busick out in front. Can't connect. Orr keeps it in to Vadnais. Vadnais for Phil Esposito. Quick shot. Saved. Tony Esposito. Busick has it. Long flip to Vadnais. Drive. Deflected wide. Hodge with it. Back to Vadnais. Over to Orr. Orr. Back for Vadnais. Drives and misses. Long rebound. Orr. Up for Busick on his off wing. Busick with Jarrett losing his stick. A shot in by Orr. Misses. Jarrett playing without a stick. Vadnais drives. Tony Esposito alertly falls on the puck. And 22 seconds left on the penalty. Excellent power play, but no goal.
Good passing by the Bruins on the power play, who lead the National Hockey League with 43 power play goals. Getting it out to the points to Vadnais and Orr. Their drives, 3 out of the 4 times missed the net. The third time, Esposito, Tony that is, grabbed it for a big face-off, because Jarrett, their defenseman, one of their 2 defensemen, playing without a stick, a very tough thing for any player to do. You don't have a hockey stick. It's difficult to do much. And we're now going to have a slight delay. Esposito looks like he's broken the strap on his left pad, and he'll need some repairs, I would think, as he comes over to the Chicago bench. 1:57 left to play, first period. 1 goal so far. Chicago's Pitt Martin is 20th of the year from Rhoda and Redmond at 9:02 on the power play. And there you see Esposito, Tony Esposito, fixing that strap on his left pad. Our guest at the end of this period, the coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, Billy Ray. He'll also be the coach of the West All-Stars in the All-Star game coming up on the 29th of January at the Chicago Stadium.
Face off to the right of Tony Esposito between Martin now and Phil Esposito. They are both waved out of there by John D'Amico, the linesman. Hodge against Pappen. It's Martin and Pappen now with Redmond and White. Penalty killers. The draw to Chicago and the quick clear by Bill White. 19 seconds left on the penalty. The puck all the way to the Boston end. Vadnais starts it out. He's on the move. Some open ice for Busick. Into the corner. Can't center it. Dug out by Pappen for Martin. Martin checked by Vadnais, but breaking Redmond. Esposito covers Russell, who's back on the ice, and the shot by Redmond goes wide. Pappen, a quick centering pass and a quick shot by Martin. Went over the net, and he was well set up. Now Phil Esposito from Hodge. Can't move in on Redmond, and Pitt Martin with it. 1:18 left in the period. A breakaway by Darcy Rhoda. Vadnais gets back, but Pappen is over there, and Rhoda scores to make it 2-0. Darcy Rhoda picks the corner and makes it 2-0 as Vadnais was back alone, and it was a breakout with Darcy Rhoda and Jim Pappen, and Rhoda scored. Here it is. Here's Rhoda, number 18, and coming up on the right side is Pappen, and Rhoda, excellent shot. Look at that drive. Perfect into the corner, and that makes it 2-0. As Darcy Rhoda scores again. He had a couple, as you'll recall, in the 5-5 game in Chicago. And the Blackhawks now lead Boston 2-0. They halted the Boston power play, and then at the tag end of it, scored to make it 2-0. Rhoda on that one. Dallas Smith can't connect, but here's O'Reilly over the line. The play ruled outside. Shepard hadn't cleared the zone. 57 seconds left in the second period. Darcy Rhoda, rookie, 13th of the year. .1848, Pitt Martin gets the assist, and the Blackhawks have a 2-0 lead. Russell, a long pass stopped by O'Reilly and cleared out quickly, but now it's taken by Jarrett. Flipped over the Boston line. 43 seconds left, first period. Chicago leads 2-0. Don Marcotte back. Checked. Has control, Pitt Martin. And the Hawks work it out on a delayed call. Darcy Rhoda breaks away from O'Reilly. Can't connect with Pitt Martin as Gary Doak is on defense with Dallas Smith. Now Marcotte. Over to Doak, but time running out in the period. Doak to Dallas Smith. Up for Marcotte. Blocked by Russell. And Russell bounces it down wide of Gilbert. And that's it in the first period. The score at the end of the first period. Chicago 2 and Boston nothing. We'll be back with the summary in just a minute. Now, but not in Jill's estimation, as we're underway in the second period. Al Sims to Phil Esposito, trying to get away from Callan and Mackey. To Orr. Orr weaves, may break right through. He is in. He is filled. And no call. Centering pass to Sims. The shot blocked as Orr was spilled, breaking right up the middle and penetrating. He saw the opening, a slight opening. It closed, and no call by Wally Harris. And Orr, stick handling out, has a word for Harris as he breaks center ice again. Again moves in. Now to Busick, in alone. He missed the pass. Back for Orr, blocked. Orr in the corner. Orr maneuvering, drives it to Hodge. Hodge, centering pass, blocked in front. Hodge around the boards. Sims keeps it in. It goes to Hodge, right in front. Tap, loose, dug out by Chico Mackey. And Dennis Hull breaks. A scorcher that rocked off the pads of Gilbert. Rebound to Orr. Sims. Busick. Back for Orr again. Third time he's carried. Back for Busick. Sends him over the line. Broken up by Dale Talon, though. Talon passes center ice. Taken by Vadnais. He's over the line. Trying to cut through. Broken up by Bill White. Sends Talon away on a break. Forbes tries to get back. Talon stops, cuts, looks to Mackey, and he missed on the shot as Talon made a nice play there stopping. Hodge breaks it out. Hodge drives on Tony Esposito, the save. Bill White into the corner. Phil Esposito and Mackey battle. Still battling. White there. Dallas Smith up there. And now the whistle for the faceoff to the right of Tony Esposito. Chicago leads 2-0.
Fred, just as I was going down, I saw Rhoda fire that puck in the first period. Beautiful shot. He really got good wood on it. Well placed for a slap shot. You know, we saw him score 2 goals and had a third one called back in Chicago. He's a fine goal scorer. Got a good idea where that net is, which, of course, is very important. On the net, that's the name of the game.
Draw to Dallas Smith. The shot is very wide. Long rebound. Vadnais keeps it in for Cashman. Back for it, Phil Russell, though. Sanderson runs into Jarrett. Marks trying to come out, stopped by Sanderson. Along the boards, Makita. Cashman. Cashman breaks him up. Can't set up a play, though, and Makita is out with Carl. And offside at the Boston line. Chicago in front 2-0. The faceoff called at center ice. Stan Makita, who missed the last game here in Boston when Chicago was so defensive-minded throughout and checked in with 2 goals, had a 2-0 lead, and Boston finally tied it up in the closing seconds. Makita was out with the flu. And now, as Billy Ray has indicated, he's got 3 lines pretty well set. And Vadnais with it now. Starting out, Makita forechecking. Flip pass in for Sanderson. Controlled. Has to hold it outside, though, and play it back to Vadnais while Forbes moved in too deep. Forbes clears it in, wide of Tony Esposito. Tony Esposito to Phil Russell. Russell looks for a faceoff and gets it. They figure with a faceoff man like Makita, they'll take the chance on the faceoffs, and with a 2-0 lead, they don't want to throw that puck away.
Actually, these are 2 very good faceoff men, Derek Sanderson and Stan Makita. Always a battle. Sanderson with a backhand draw, probably the Dallas Smith at the point.
And it won't be Sanderson. He's waved out by Leon Stickle. Makita won it easily against Forbes. Jarrett, Marks. Boston checking, but Phil Russell with the puck. Looking for Marks. It broke away. Back for it, Vadnais. Icing on the play as he just used his body to push Makita out of there and touch it first. 16:48 left in the second period. A 2-0 lead for Chicago.
Chicago goals both coming in the first period. Martin is 20th of the year at 9:02 on the power play. And Darcy Rhoda, 18:48 of the first period. His 13th of the year. It's 2-0 Chicago. Rhoda and Martin both have a goal and an assist so far tonight.
Nikita beats Sanderson on the faceoff for Bill Russell. Out for Marks. Checked by Sanderson. Fed in. Tipped wide. In the corner. Forbes on it. Forbes checked by Carl. They're looking for faceoff. It goes out to Sanderson. Back to Dallas Smith. Over to Vadnais. Hit it on the goal and missed. Nice shot by Vadnais, though. He released it quickly. Dallas Smith keeps it in. Blocked. And out comes Nikita with Marks trailing. Nikita over the line. Quick drive. Just wide. And can't he drive him? He gets another one from the right side and misses. Jarrett left point. Up now for Carl. For Nikita. Out to Carl. Ridden off by Sanderson to Forbes. To Cashman. Back for Forbes. A break here. 2 men free if he can get it over there. And he's called on by Russell. Cashman digging for it. Forbes has it. To Cashman behind the net. Can't center it. Cashman checked by Nikita and Russell. And Forbes in hard there too. But it's tied up for a faceoff. Marks starts to jam with Forbes. And the linesmen move in between. Marks didn't like that late hit by Forbes. There's a break in the action with the score. Chicago 2 and Boston nothing. Let's pause for this message.
Got the answer to tonight's memory flogger? Not sure yet? Well, here's one thing you can be sure of. You did come up with a taste, a smoothness, and a drinkability like no other if you've been watching tonight's game with a supply of crisp, cold Budweiser beer on hand. Man, that's good beer. Okay, why didn't any team win the 1919 Stanley Cup playoffs? The answer is bad colds. An epidemic of Spanish flu hit both Montreal and Seattle squads, and the playoffs were canceled. If you knew that, you know your hockey.
Forbes trying to sneak down this left side. Now he had Vadnais and Sanderson coming in on that right side, but he couldn't get the puck over as Russell made a fine play, knocking him down. Cashman ran Russell into the boards, and you'll see what started all the pushing and shoving right here. Well, I guess we won't see that. Okay, Fred.
Play on now, and over on the right wing side, O'Reilly. Holding. Out of the corner, a backhander, pops wide of Tony Esposito. Shepard plays it around the other side. O'Reilly digging for it. Out of the boards. Drives it in, but wide. And Bill White gets control. To Redmond. Up the board, stopped by Orr, right point. In for Shepard. To O'Reilly. O'Reilly back to Orr. Orr, right point. Backhander blocked. Shepard. To O'Reilly, back for Shepard, he missed it and escapes. Back for Sims, though. Screen shot blocked, keeps it in, but now Martin works it out to Darcy Rhoda. And a hard drive misses the net, and he's got a screaming shot, that Rhoda, and he's got 1 goal. Here's Orr. Dances through. Save, score! Shepard on the rebound. What a rush by Bobby Orr.
Talk about a tremendous play, doing things as you think of them. Look at Orr. Slide through that Chicago defense. The drive. Esposito with a fine skate save. But Shepard perfectly placed, coming in for the rebound. Tossed it into that top corner. Tony Esposito made a tremendous stop on that drive by Orr. It was partially screened, but Orr slipping through that Chicago defense like a ballet dancer. He was almost hit twice, and he finally broke through. Made the great play, and Shepard the rebound for Greg Shepard, who's had a tough time getting off the ground. His 5th goal of the year, or the assist. Watch this shift here. Beautiful play by Orr. And there's a good stop by Esposito, but he couldn't get back in time. Great play by Orr.
Shepard from Orr. Puck now to Don Marcotte. Checked on the play, but he battles. Works it over the line. Checked along the boards by Crisco and ridden off. And Pitt Martin with it. Plays it out to the Boston zone. Back for it. Sims, as Bordelot is on now with Crisco playing the wings. Boston trails by a goal. Here's Orr out by Crisco. in the center ice. For O'Reilly over the line. Back for Shepard. Intercepted by Crisco. Played around the boards for Russell. Out. Shepard battles. O'Reilly keeps it in. He's checked. Sims keeps it in. Plays it in the corner to Marcotte. Marcotte stopping, looking to Shepard. He's ridden off. Marcotte has it again, or signaling for it. Marcotte is checked. Jarrett looks for a face-off and gets it as the Bruins carry the play. There's a break in the action with the score Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this message.
Delta is ready when you are.
Shepard from Orr at 5:14, the goal. That doesn't tell the story. Hodge keeps it in to Busick. A shot over the head. And Tony Esposito. Hodge keeps it in. Centering pass. Mackey covers Phil Esposito and blocks it. And Mackey has it from Redmond. And Talon looking for a lead pass. Deflects near the net. Golfed into the crowd by Gilbert and a face-off call. Well, Orr shows you something different every game. When we play 78 games, it's a long schedule, but there's something different.
That'll be an impromptu performance, Fred, really. That was a great move. It looked like, I think at the outset, he thought he could get through the Chicago defense. Bill White, playing on the right side, moved over very quickly. He blocked that gap. Or at the very last split second, realized he wasn't going to get through. He just balleted to the other side. Now he went on the right wing side, which is unusual for him. And he moved right through. A beautiful play by Orr. The drive, Tony Esposito made a fine right pad save, but Shepard coming in for the rebound, and you saw Tony had no chance on the play.
Well, Orr had preoccupied at least 3 Hawks, and that leaves a few Bruins free. Esposito to Dallas Smith. He starts it out. Chicago leads 2-1. Dallas Smith to Busick. Fed in wide of Tony Esposito. Talon is back. Chicago plays it around the boards. Busick to Hodge. Bounced off his stick. Rolls over to Dennis Howe. Trying to clear it out. It went off Ken Hodge and into the crowd. The face-off call.
I asked Billy Ray about Dale Talon in the end of the first period, but I'll get to that in a moment.
Now let's pause for this program reminder.
Ollie and Stan get into another fine mess in the further adventures of Laurel and Hardy. Century Cinema, Saturday at 6 p.m. TV 38. All fun and games.
Hodge clears it in. 13:02 left, second period. It's been a fine hockey game. Chicago leads 2-1. White. Check. Hodge can't control it. Chico Mackey for Dennis Howell outside at the Boston line as Mackey made a good play.
Well, to get back to my Talon story, I asked Billy Ray about changing the system a little bit with Talon covering Esposito. He was sort of non-committal, but I noticed on this shift, Talon goes into forecheck if Esposito has the puck, and then he stays right with him as soon as he makes Esposito pass the puck. He stays right close to him, and he lets the man carrying the puck, in this case it was Dallas Smith, he doesn't continue to forecheck. He picks up Esposito and swings back. That is a change from the outset because Esposito got in twice all by himself.
Vadnais from Dallas Smith. And a bouncer in. Tony blocks it for Bill White. White starts it out for Chicago. Now to big Dale Talon. Trying to go through. In the corner, can't center it. Vadnais around for Busick. Too far ahead. He pokes it by White, though. He breaks over the line. Busick cutting. Drops it for Vadnais. For Hodge. A backhander popped in the air. Vadnais trying to move it in front, but somebody, a Bruin, reached up, tapped it, and it's called for the faceoff outside the Chicago line.
Almost a dangerous play for Boston, but watch Ken Hodge here. Will intercept the pass. He probably should have left it for Vadnais. He's a right-hand shot. He took it on his backhand. Watch Hodge here in Vadnais. Now, he could have left it for Vadnais with that drive. He would have really whistled that one, but Hodge took it the backhand. They never got the good shot away.
Dallas Smith to Vadnais over the line. Drive in off Esposito. Busick trying to center it. It goes to the other corner. Hodge to Busick behind the net. Back for Hodge. Shot blocked. Hodge falls down, pops it in the air, and it's caught by Tony Esposito on the faceoff to the left of Tony. Boston carrying the play. The Bruins trail 2-1. First period goals by Pitt Martin and Darcy Rhoda. He's just 20 years old. He'd be 21 in February and has a bright prospect in the National Hockey League. Shepard scoring for Boston.
For Darcy Rhoda, He's been red hot lately. That's his 5th goal in the last 4 games for Chicago. And Pitt Martin has 6 goals in 7 games. He now has 7 goals in 8 games. The two fellows are really producing for Chicago.
Makita wins the faceoff. Jarrett to Makita. Stopped by Orr, center ice. Flips it up. Cliff Carl with it. To John Marks. Fed in the Boston zone. Al Sims around. Here's Marks all over Orr, and Hodge digs it out. Checked by Makita. They battle. And a whistle finally by Wally Harris for a faceoff to the right of Gilbert. With the score, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this. Faceoff to the right of Gilbert. Sanderson against Makita. That was the situation. Now it's Carl against Cashman. To Forbes. Loose puck. Forbes drops it. Carl has it. To John Marks. The shot is blocked. Knocked away by Sims. For Forbes to Sanderson. That in wide to the left of Tony Esposito. Marks is back there. Hit by Forbes. Forbes goes down. Carl plays it around the boards for Jarrett. Up the boards, stopped by Orr. Fed back in. Bounces. Forbes, a backhander, but right to Phil Russell. And out at center ice, Carl taken out of the play by Sims, and Orr with it. To Forbes. Up the right side for Cashman. He's checked. Orr gets it to Cashman over the line of break. Orr, Sanderson. Drop pass for Orr. Orr has to cut back for it. And his backhander is blocked. Sanderson dropped it for Orr. Here's Carl. And now Gilbert out of the net to get it. The loose puck in the Boston end for Orr. Up for Cashman to Sanderson. Plays it back to Orr, but it's a high pass. An aerial pass. Orr starts out. 2-1 Chicago. Martin checks Orr, and he got a pass away for Forbes, but it went wide. Onside, Cashman hustled in. Forbes pins Russell. Good digging by Cashman to get there first. And the faceoff now to the right of Tony Esposito. And Chicago is watching Orr like a hawk.
Very good, Fred. Excellent. 2-1 to score. Chicago leading the Boston Bruins. 10:06 left to play. Second period. Martin and Rhoda scoring for Chicago in the first period. Shepard scoring from Bobby Orr at 5:14 of the second period, his 5th of the year. And our guest at the end of the period, Carol Vadnais, defenseman for the Bruins.
Martin against Shepard. Marcotte checks White. Redmond with it for White. Up for Pappen. For Redmond again. They're halfway through the hockey game. 2-1 lead for Chicago. Here's Dallas Smith trying to get Pappen, but the puck bounces to the Boston zone. Martin forechecking on Vadnais. Off for Shepard. Too far ahead of O'Reilly. Rhoda drives it around. Marcotte going after it, but it's Pappen getting it. Fed in. Struck O'Reilly. O'Reilly flattened Martin, who is just getting up now as Shepard clears it in. Oh, did he hit Pitt Martin? Marcotte, a centering pass. Bounces. Dallas Smith a drive, and the screen hits wide. And the forechecking of Boston set that up. Long pass. Dallas Smith clears it back in. White back for it. Icing called against the Bruins. 9:13 left. Second period. Chicago leads 2-1.
This line for the Bruins over the past 4 or 5 games has been a real hustle line. Shepard at center, Riley right wing, Marcotte on the left side. Playing very strong two-way hockey. They scored the only goal in that 1-0 win over St. Louis on Tuesday night with some great hustle by Don Marcotte and Shepard and O'Reilly. They played a very sound game, and they have so far here tonight, as Shepard has scored the only goal so far for the Bruins.
Shepard gets the draw to Dallas Smith. Keith Magnuson is okay on the Chicago bench, just hasn't played. Shepard can't connect with Marcotte. Puck to the Hawk zone. Russell with Marcotte in pursuit. Off to Jarrett. Stop. Marcotte with it. Quick drive, saved by Tony Esposito. Fine hustling work by Marcotte, who's in again. Rolls back. Dallas Smith. Feeding in the corner. Stopped by Russell. Stopped by O'Reilly on the boards. Back for Dallas Smith. The shot deflected wide. O'Reilly shoves Jarrett out of the way, but Jarrett gets it. Checked by O'Reilly, and it goes into the crowd, and the faceoff is called outside the line by Wally Harris. With the score, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this.
Mount Rushmore, where travelers tell us which credit card they prefer.
I carry the American Express card because I find it's the only one that I need.
We used American Express at a French department store and bought a crib for the baby.
The American Express card is like a backstop.
American Express card is probably the best you can have.
The amount of money the American Express card costs is just a drop in the bucket for what it's worth.
Call 800-AE8-5000 to apply for an American Express card.
Face-off outside the Chicago line. Esposito, Hodge, Busick with Orr and Sims. Over to Sims, rather. A shot in on Tony Esposito to save. White with it. White with Redmond on the Chicago defense. This is Redmond. Hit by Sims. Puck loose in the corner, and Busick with it. Winding up. Plays it back to Orr. 8:07 left, second period. Orr to Phil Esposito by Talon. Talon getting back on Esposito. Esposito clears it in as he's ridden off at the defense, and back for it quickly is Talon. Out for Dennis Hull. Long pass stopped by Sims. Busick drives it back in the Chicago zone. Bruins keeping the heat on, but Chicago defending well. Bill White controlling. Off on the boards. Tapped out to Talon. He's broken up. Dennis Hull with it for Chicago. They have not had many shots on Gilbert in the second period, but they lead 2-1. Busick into White. But it's Mackey over the line. Drop pass checked by Sims. Dennis Hull a shot. Blocked by Hodge. Mackey with it. Behind the net. Centers it. Locked in front. Hodge trying to clear it out. Can't. Kept in by Mackey. Now intercepted by Orr on his pass. And Orr slows it down. Now starts it out. The crowd yells. He set up a spectacular. Over the line. Still going. Still going. Quick shot. Save. Tony Esposito. Score. Hodge. 7 minutes. Wally Harris says no. As Hodge knocked it out of the glove of Tony Esposito, and Tony is mad, but the whistle had blown.
That's exactly right, Fred. A little drive by Orr. Hodge was breaking on that right side. I don't think Bobby saw him. He made a little flip shot here. Watch Hodge down that right side. Here's Orr with the drive. Now watch the whistle. It was just blowing right there when Hodge hit Esposito's glove, knocked the puck out of his hand, and Esposito gave a little stick nudge to Hodge, as much as to say, look, let's not do that again, fellow.
The crowd really on edge when Orr starts to rush out. And is he ever moving? The puck back to Sims in the draw. The shot is wide. The other corner, Hodge, checked by Redmond, gets it over to Phil Esposito. He just couldn't get control. And it bounces to Stan Mikita. Mikita out on a good one to Dennis Hull. Quick shot, misses. Right side, Mikita's shot. Trickles in on Gilbert, and he covers. One of the rare sorties by Chicago. They've had spasmodic ones in the second period, but not many shots on Gilbert. As we look at Gilbert.
Well, I played some kind of goal in St. Louis, Fred. As you know, I think that was the best goaltending I've seen for quite some time. He made 4 or 5 miraculous stops. The Bruins were not skating that well, but Gilbert was immense.
Mikita draws for Russell, but he has to go center ice. Over to Jarrett. Back for Russell. Checked by Sanderson. Broken up by Dallas Smith. And Mikita gets the loose puck. Breaks with Marks. Good stick handler. Feeds in for Carl. Marks broken up by Cashman. To Forbes. Stopped, and Stan Mikita with it. All the elements of a Stanley Cup game, this one, as Chicago leads 2-1. Second period, 6:13 left. Dallas Smith around for Forbes. Forbes, a good breakout here. Sanderson back for Forbes. Into the corner, closing to Sanderson. It was blocked. Blocked by Jarrett. Perfect setup for Sanderson. Jarrett made that one. Forbes for Sanderson. Missed it. Vadnais clears it in as Jarrett moved out on him. Russell with Cashman after him. Cashman checks him into the corner, but Marks has it. Checked by Sanderson. Around for Cliff Carl. Other side, Cashman bats it. And Russell pounces on it. And the face-off call to the right of Tony Esposito. Well, you can hear the crowd. They're really on edge in a very exciting hockey game.
Prior to this shift, that Sanderson's line was out there outside of Shepard and O'Reilly and Marcotte. The Bruins forwards are not getting in there to challenge the Chicago defenseman quick enough. They're handling that puck, turning around and facing the play coming in. And they're making those good passes out to the center. That time, Sanderson, Cashman, and Forbes went very quickly into forecheck, but that's what you have to do against this Chicago system. You give defensemen like Bill White a time to turn around and look at the man coming in, and he'll pass that puck by you 99 times out of 100. Very, very quick with the wrist, makes good passes, and that's what the Bruins have to do here is they have to hustle a little quicker, get that Chicago defenseman before he gets time to turn around and look to where he's going to pass it.
Face-off to Kit Martin, wins it for Bill White. Out to Darcy Rhoda, now to Martin. Martin over the line, drop pass for Papin, broken up. Cashman with it from Sims. To Dallas, to Orr. Here he streaks, coming up on Redmond. Over the line, cuts in, and is filled, and Redmond gets the tripping call. As Orr was tripped by Redmond, and Boston will have the man advantage. With the score, is Sanderson getting a penalty, and running into Wally Harris and thrown out of the game, I'm sure. Sanderson held off by D'Amico. Sanderson got a misconduct anyway, and now he's battling D'Amico, and he'll have several games suspension. No question about that. As John D'Amico is finally keeping him at bay. And why Sanderson should protest, the penalty was on Redmond, a tripping call against Orr and Boston. But Sanderson just blew his cool.
The only thing I can possibly think of, Fred, is he felt maybe that Orr might have had a penalty shot, although he was not in that clear. It was only from the side. Redmond's getting a tripping call at 14:44. Sanderson really blew his cool. Why he did it, as Fred said, I don't know either, and we'll have to wait and see just what the call's going to be.
John, he's out of the game, and I wouldn't be surprised out of several games. He brushed Wally Harris and shoved him, and Phil Esposito finally calming him down. With the score, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this.
Bobby Orr, who has been magnificent tonight for the Bruins. Watch him give this change of pace to Redmond. I hope we'll see Redmond just about coming into your picture. Now, right there, he sort of gives him a little change of pace. Redmond hesitates just a moment, and Orr just sifted right around him, knocked him down from the side, and he's off for tripping. Derek Sanderson draws a 10-minute misconduct and a game misconduct. But the Bruins will have the man advantage because the misconduct and game misconduct only affect the player involved in the penalty. They do not affect the on-ice playing strength of the Bruins. So we have a power play situation for Boston. The penalty to Redmond coming at 14:44.
Well, Frank Advari, supervisor assistant to Scotty Morrison, is here at the game. He would have seen Sanderson's actions. At the power play for Boston, and Papin gets the face-off and clears. Papin and Martin, White and Jarrett. For Boston, it is Esposito, Cashman, and Hodge, with Vadnais and Orr. Cashman at left wing on this line. Here comes Vadnais to Esposito. Open ice. The Bruins offside. And now let's pause. 5 seconds for station identification.
This is WSBK-TV, Channel 38, Boston.
Face-off outside the Hawk blue line. Martin got that face-off to White again. That's a long shot on Gilbert. One of the few Chicago's had in the period. Orr breaks center ice. By White again. Spilled. Fights to keep it in. And Hodge dives. In for Orr. Quick shot. Save! Tony Esposito as Orr was in front. Orr jams it in the corner and gets a face-off. And what can you say about Orr? I tell you, he is on fire.
Well, Fred, you know, in St. Louis, we saw a different Bobby Orr, right? A defensive game. He played a very strong defensive game. Tonight, he's been offensive-minded, and he has been something else again. Knocked down there from the side. No call on the play. There's Orr with a drive. Hit the goal post off the skate of Tony Esposito. And he goes into the boards with Pappen, and they tie it up for a face-off, as Orr has been all over the ice, offensive-minded tonight. In St. Louis, we saw another exhibition of great play, but this was defensive-minded, and he has made some tremendous plays so far tonight.
Face off to the right of Tony Esposito. 1:17 left in the penalty to Redmond. This face-off, Hodge to Vadnais. Over to Orr. Fires. Save. Blocked in front. Martin clears it between the point men as Hodge and Martin start to joust a bit. Here comes Vadnais. Slides it in the Chicago zone. Jarrett back quickly. Clears it into the crowd. The face-off in the Chicago territory to the left of Tony Esposito. And it's been a very chippy game. The tempers are rising. And the fans are enjoying this to the utmost. Chicago leads 2-1, and there is Orr. And now Pappen coming out after a delay. He's with Martin, White, and Jarrett. White's played most of this period, I think, for Chicago, the way it's going. 54 seconds left on the penalty. 4 minutes left in the period. 2-1 Chicago. The draw right to Vadnais. Quick shot, blocked by White. Into the corner, Pappen trying to clear. Orr stops it. Over to Vadnais. A shift to Busick. In front, Tony Esposito on the loose puck. As Busick had it, tried to feed in front, delayed a bit, and Tony was able to tie it up.
We've seen some great passing tonight. Orr from the point makes a beautiful pass. Watch this draw by Vadnais on, I think that's Bill White. Here's to Busick. He couldn't find Esposito quick enough over on that far side, and it seemed to hit somebody on the way across, and it was tied up by Tony Esposito.
Puck loose again. White trying to clear it. Hodge. Back to Orr. Quick shot. Blocked. Orr to Vadnais. Quick drive. Save. Busick. Esposito missed on the pass, but it goes to Orr. 22 seconds left. Pappen watching Orr. Orr. A drive. Blocked. And Martin gets the rebound, and it's cleared out off Pappen. 10 seconds left in the penalty. Orr winds up. A crowd, listen to them. Here comes Orr. In with Hodge. Hodge closing. In front, loose. Esposito in front, can't connect with Busick. Out comes Redmond. Busick out of the corner. Back for Vadnais. Intercepted by Martin. To Redmond. To Mackey. Fed back, broken up by Vadnais. And the Bruins fail to score in the power play. Chicago leads 2-1. Orr checked by Dennis Hull. And a puck fed in now to Dale Talon. He's hit by Vadnais. Dug out by Cashman. For Esposito. Marcotte is on. Esposito. Controlling. Check. Has it again. Now for Marcotte. To Cashman. In front. Blocked by Redmond. And it's cleared out. And Dennis Hull breaks. Doak is back. He has Mackey with him. Drops it for Mackey. Checked by Marcotte. What a defensive play by Don Marcotte. Who got back? Here's Esposito to Cashman. Over the line. Moving. Trying to cut in. Goes to the corner. Cashman drops it. Intercepted by Dennis Hull. To Makita. 2 minutes left in the period. Makita over the line. Drop pass. Russell closes. Shoots. Save. Rebound. Drive. Block. Loose puck. Shepard. A breakout for Boston. Looking for O'Reilly. O'Reilly has it over the line for Marcotte. For Shepard. Shot by Redmond. There's Marcotte set him up. And the puck blocked by O'Reilly on Dennis Hull. He knocks Dennis Hull down. It's back to Doak. Right point. He fires. And it's wide. Left point. Dallas Smith. Closing. The shot. Save. Tony Esposito. and it's bounced, hit in the air, and Wally Harris, listen to the crowd. What a hockey game. Harris calls the faceoff in the Chicago zone. The Bruins have carried the play. And Marcotte and Shepard discussing their situation where he dropped it to Shepard, and Shepard had the backhander, but Dick Redmond just came up and blocked it wide. There's Marcotte, who checked back on a 2-1 situation against Boston and prevented a shot by Mackey and broke up the play and sent it the other way. Don Marcotte. 1:27 left in the period, and Bill White, who's played most of the period for Chicago, is out on defense with Redmond. 1:27 left. Face off to the left of Tony Esposito. 2-1 Chicago. Canadians lead Buffalo 2-0. Shepard against Makita. Shepard to Marcotte to Shepard. The shot out by Tony Esposito as again Redmond just got enough wood on Shepard's shot to take the steam out of it, and it popped to Tony Esposito. Boston has carried the play virtually the entire second period, but they have only one goal, Shepard's. The draw to Doak. The drive deflected wide of Tony Esposito. Dallas Smith keeps it in. To the backboards again. White to Redmond. Can't connect with Makita. Dallas Smith center ice. Up for O'Reilly. O'Reilly can't connect with Shepard. 1:03 left in the period. O'Reilly pins Marks. Chicago leads 2-1. Dallas Smith starts it out. For Doak. Fed in a save by Tony Esposito on the long shot. Marks the quick clear out. Stopped by Orr, who's on again. For Shepard, played in. White moves it out. Orr with it again. Over to Dallas Smith. Up for Marcotte. Cuts in the middle. Trying to drop it for Orr. It went outside the line. Orr to O'Reilly. Broken up. Dallas Smith. Winding up at the Boston line. Quick pass is checked by Marks. And Marks slides it in the Boston zone, and there are 20 seconds left in the period. Chicago in front 2-1. Out comes Marcotte. Shepard. A long shot, a save by Tony Esposito. Holds it away from O'Reilly, and it goes in the corner now to Dale Talon. 3 seconds left. 2, and that's it. In a positively exciting second period. The score at the end of the second period, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. We'll be back with the summary in just a minute. Taps it up the board. White there, checked by Hodge. Usyk centering pass, skated off by Talon, intercepted by Orr. Goes in deep, a backhander, right across and wide. Sims with it, a drive in front, deflected, deep. Hodge couldn't get it, he was in deep. He spills Tony Esposito, falls atop Redmond. And the faceoff called, and the pressure is in the second period, all Boston's.
19:19 left to play third period. There's Orr with a backhander. Sims drove this one on the net. This one almost went in. There it goes. Esposito with a save that he really didn't see that puck. Hodge couldn't get it by him, and we now have the face-off as you saw Tony Esposito dive at that puck. And I think Bev Goodland talking to Busick about Esposito out of his goal crease and the puck over that goal line about a penalty, but he's not going to discuss it with the referee.
Face-off to the left of Tony Esposito. Hodge to Orr. Fires, deflected. Busick tied up by White, couldn't get a shot. And Dale Talon, who played a lot of defense for Vancouver, clears it out with Redmond. Sims now for Boston, winding up. Check, gives it to Orr. Orr gets around White. Back for Hodge. Shot wide. Usyk, the rebound. Rolls it in front. Hodge gets it. Tries to move it in front. Hodge, check. Back for Sims. Sims drives, and it's wide. The long rebound. Orr failed to keep it in as he wheeled around. And Chicago just jamming up in front of Tony Esposito, and there's no opening or deflection or tip-in for Boston as 8:36 left in the game. Chicago leads 2-1. The play in the Chicago zone, but Chicago making a one-goal stand-up. And now out comes Makita, Carl, and Marks. And Beth Goodland changes. And Derek Sanderson was thrown out of the game in the second period. A 10-minute misconduct, a game misconduct. And now Odleson is at center between Cashman and Forbes with Vadnais and Dallas Smith. Odleson drew it back for Dallas Smith. Up for Forbes, missed it. Russell in the center ice, stopped by Cashman. Cashman checked by Marks, and Jarrett rushes with Makita. The shot pops in the air, gloved by Gilbert, and he hangs on. And the faceoff in the Boston zone.
To show you how defensive-minded Chicago have been in their own end, of the 22 shots on goal that the Bruins have managed on Esposito, 14 of those 22 have been by defensemen for the Bruins. Orr and Vadnais have 4 each. Smith and Sims have 3 each. The point men are wide open in the Chicago end, but they're covering and blocking the front of that net.
Vadnais, as Odleson won the draw against Makita, up for Forbes, trying to beat Russell. He's checked. Odleson goes to the corner. He's checked by Jarrett. Battles Jarrett. Gets it. Centers it. Forbes. The shot blocked by Russell. One of the big saves of the night. Russell on Forbes as Odleson set up that play. And he's won 2 faceoffs against Makita. Odleson back in the corner. Out for Vadnais. Ahead for Forbes. Coming up on Russell. Knocked down on a hard, clean check by Phil Russell. Carl has the puck. Clears it out for Chicago. That's all they've been doing. They're going to make that 1 goal stand up with. Now Odleson over the line on the right. Checked by Marks. Vadnais at center ice. Broken up. Makita. Pass across for Carl. Offside at the Boston blue line.
Good chance by Dave Forbes in front on a beautiful pass by Odleson behind the Chicago net. Dave Forbes, a fine left winger, making that streak down the left side. The one thing he's really got to learn and got to work on, I think, he doesn't make any fake on that defenseman as he comes down on him. He just barrels with sheer speed between the boards and, in this case, Russell. And it was very simple for Russell to move over and take him out of the play. That winger coming down should really make a fake to the inside to set the weight on that defenseman on his back skate or his inside skate, and then he has a better opportunity to get by the board.
Bobby Orr from the Boston end. Now to Shepard, starting out against Martin. Back for Orr. Over to Sims. Fed in. Shot on Tony Esposito. Off for Redmond. Redmond controlling. Off to Bill White. And the Hawks work it out. Long lead pass. This could be icing. Back for it. Orr ahead of Rhoda, and that's icing. 16:46 left in the game. Chicago leads 2-1. 2 goals in the first period, and Boston scored in the second. And Bobby Orr in one of his super performances here tonight. But words can't describe it, really.
Well, they really can't, Fred. You can only see him in replay to really appreciate the tremendous plays that he has made here tonight.
Shepard against Martin. The draw to Orr. The shot is blocked. Pops in the air. And White digs it out to Pappen. Up for Rhoda. Bumped. Knocked down by Sims. Sort of fell. He spun around. And it's Sims from Orr. Center ice to O'Reilly. To Shepard. Intercepted by White. Then he clears it out to center ice. Orr to Sims to Shepard. Left to Marcotte. Broken up. Gets it again. Backhander. A save by Tony Esposito. Redmond trying to clear. And Rhoda takes Orr out as Sims gets it center ice. Now to Shepard. Over to Marcotte. For Orr. Can't cut in on Redmond. And the puck batted out. Shepard intercepts. Waits for Orr to clear. Lead pass for Orr, who's a 4th forward. Quick turnaround shot. White intercepts. The puck tapped out to center ice, and Orr is back to get it. Orr starts back again. Away from White. Here's a threat. Over the line. Orr closing. He's in. A backhander and a save by Tony Esposito. He faked 3 men and was robbed by Tony Esposito. There's a break in the action with the score. Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this message.
See exactly what.
Words can't describe this one. Great rush by Orr. Look at that stick handling, maneuvering. Just great.
Face-off to the left of Tony Esposito. Chicago leads 2-1. The draw won by Phil Esposito, but it goes all the way to the Boston end, away from Vadnais. Talon down the forecheck. Vadnais winding up for Phil Esposito. Everybody back for Chicago, though. And he can't connect with Dallas Smith. Backcourt Russell. And icing called on that play. 15-19 left in the game. The Braves in action against the Rochester Americans on Saturday night here at the Boston Garden, 7:30 p.m. They are playing games on Tuesday nights at Ridge Arena, but this Saturday night it will be Rochester Americans and the Braves at Boston Garden at 7:30. Talon, Dennis Hull, Chico Mackey for Chicago. The Bruins have carried the play since the start of the second period, dominating the play, but they've only beaten Tony Esposito once. Dallas Smith out. Well, Phil Esposito didn't get the pass, and Russell moves it back in. Dallas Smith winding up. Slowed down by Talon. Now to Vadnais. Away from Mackey, but broken up by Talon, and cleared back in. Chicago strong defensively now, with forechecking. Hodge to Vadnais. Out for Busick. For Vadnais. Busick fell down. Vadnais rushes. Cleared in. Broken up by Jarrett. And Jarrett just slides it out. A long pass. Dallas Smith. Not icing as it rolls down wide of Tony Esposito. Now for Russell. 14:22 left in the game. Russell controlling. Chicago leads 2-1. And he slides this along the dasher to the Boston end. No icing. Vadnais back. Dallas Smith plays the boards. Checked by Dale Talon and Chico Mackey. And the Bruins having trouble now getting it going. Now it's to Busick. His line pass did not connect with Phil Esposito, and Jarrett has possession. Busick flattened Jarrett. He's slow to get out. Oh, did he hit Jarrett? John Busick with a jolting check. Jarrett's still out there, obviously in pain. Here comes Vadnais. Over the line. Gets in deep. Can't center it. Checked by Talon. Back to help out. Vadnais digging for it. Falls on the puck, and the faceoff called in the Chicago zone. And what a hit on that one. There's a break in the action with the score. Chicago 2, Boston 1. Let's pause for this message.
I just heard the McBunny.
As good an open ice check as you'll see. Busick on Jarrett, a solid hip check. He really flattened him, and he hurt him. He may not be back.
Out comes Marks for Chicago after the faceoff over the line. Shot is wide. Or checked by Marks into the boards and tied up for a faceoff.
You know, Fred, those checks along the boards may make a lot of noise, but it's the checks in open ice that really hurt. And he really caught Jarrett a very solid hip check. And the one that Sims Cornway in Montreal Saturday night, a tremendous check.
White keeps it in, blocked by Sims, deflects into the crowd. 13:08 left in the game. Chicago leads 2-1. Goals by Pitt Martin and Darcy Rhoda in the first period. Greg Shepard on a rebound of a Bobby Orr. A brilliant rush in the second period. And that's all for Boston, as despite the fact they're carrying the play for the most part. Odlison on the faceoff gets the draw to Sims. That's 3 faceoffs Odlison has won against Makita. Or to Sims. Over the line, some open ice. Pass for Forbes into the corner. Pass back to the left point. Odlison drives it in deep, blocked by White. Out to Makita. To Cliff Carl. And offside as Marks was in ahead of the play. And now let's pause for this program reminder.
Watch the finals of the U.S. Pro Indoor Tennis Championships. Tennis greats compete for $100,000 in prize money Sunday at 4:30 on TV 38.
The draw into the Chicago zone. No icing on that. Bill White. Round for Redmond. Out for Makita. Checked by Odlison. Odlison to Cashman. Over the line. Quick shot, a save, Tony Esposito. Rebound now, Redmond. Out for Marks. ahead of Mikita. Rolls down to save Gilbert. Into the corner, intercepted by Marks. Marks broken up by Orr. Set around for Forbes. Forbes to the other side for Cashman. He starts out, but everybody back for Chicago. They're changing on the fly to Orr. Over the line for Forbes. Poke checked away. Sims. Check. Cashman trying to break in. Can't. And what defensive play by Chicago. 11:42 left in the game now. And Boston has slowed down its good attack that was rolling there, led by Orr. And Chicago just playing it very cautiously and capably defensively. And Boston frustrated again. Here's Dallas Smith. Lead pass, Shepard over the line in deep. Gets it. To Marcotte. What a save by Tony Esposito. Clear-cut chance. Don Marcotte's backhander. This has been one of the most effective lines for Boston. O'Reilly battling Jarrett for Shepard. Checked by Martin. Martin, pass around. Tappan just taps it out to center ice. 11 minutes left in the game. Shepard back. Away from Martin. Clears it in. Back for it first, Russell. Around the boards. Dallas Smith can't keep it in, and Marcotte flattened Russell. Shepard back for Vadnais. Vadnais to Dallas Smith. Lead pass. Shepard would have been in alone, and Darcy Rhoda broke up that play. There wasn't a defenseman in sight. Now Shepard, quick pass, intercepted by Martin for Russell. Russell just clears it in wide of Gilbert. Chicago with quick changes and just one thought in mind, big D defense. Vadnais rushes. Over the line. Check. Keeps it in to Shepard. Shot is blocked by White. The defense has been everywhere when Boston's had a chance. With the score, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this.
Shepard moving down in the corner. Marcotte will get this backhand shot. Esposito with relatively routine stop.
Still Esposito to Orr. A quick clear in the corner. Redmond and Hodge. Busick. Hodge with it. For Busick. Try to get it back. Check. Busick in the corner. For Hodge. Has to go to the corner for it. Pass in front. Knocked away. Busick to Sims. Quick drive in. Deflected. Save. The deflections. Everything's rolling for Chicago. No question about that as Boston carries the play.
Dale Talon really sticking as close as glue to Phil Esposito in front of that net, which means that the defensemen are going to have to do the digging the puck out of the corners. You'll see Talon. He's right on top of Esposito. There he is, number 19. Jarrett took that last shift, but he's not 100%. The Bruins might take advantage of that left side of that Chicago defense if he comes out on another shift, because it looks like his knee is hurting.
On the faceoff, batted around. White trying to clear it. Sims can't keep it in. White everywhere. Big, rangy defenseman, and Pope checked that out. Sims, now Busick for Orr. To Hodge. By Dennis Hull. A pass in the corner for Busick. Fires across. Blocked, deflected, loose, and Redmond has it. Redmond slows it down and passes out to center ice, where Orr intercepts for Hodge. Back for Orr, broken up by Redmond and cleared out. Now at the Boston zone, Sims. 9 minutes and 9 seconds left in the game. Chicago with a remarkable defensive performance. Esposito out by White to Busick. For Esposito, missed. And Jarrett clears it out. Orr for Esposito. Break here. Back for Hodge. Back for Orr. Green shot. Save. Tony Esposito with the glove. Got a piece of it. Long pass out. Dennis Hull just clears it to the Boston zone. Chicago, of course, with just that assignment, they're not carrying the offense at all unless they get a clear-cut break. Everybody back as Orr starts out. 8:30 left in the game. Orr's shot blocked. Sims with it. Inside the line for Cashman. Poked away. Bounces loose. And Tony Esposito ties it up. Well out of the net to the left. With the score, Chicago 2 and Boston 1. Let's pause for this. Tony Esposito, who's been solid in goal for Chicago. Odlison, Forbes, Cashman the line. Odlison against Makita to Cashman. Can't get a handle. Odlison does. A backhander. Save Tony Esposito. Cashman looking for the rebound is ridden off by Marks. Makita clears it. Puck back now. Odlison has to wait for Cashman to clear. Over to Vadnais. Shot in, blocked by Marks. And he ties it up with Cashman on the board. Dennis Hull is not 100%. 2 weeks ago injured in the collision with Bobby Orr and a groin injury. And Talon is coming off actually a fractured wrist, and he has a cast on his left hand. But they are back, and they are playing excellent defensive hockey. Boston pressing, but cannot penetrate Tony Esposito. The name of the game as Chicago leads 2-1.
Montreal leads Buffalo 2-1. They led 2-0. Buffalo just scored, and that's an important game for the Bruins.
Dallas Smith now for Boston. Pass intercepted, missed by Marks. Cleared down by Cashman. Rolls wide of Tony Esposito, and Russell there first. Russell turns the net and starts on the attack. Just flips it in the Boston zone and stands at the line. Backcourt Vadnais trying to get away from Marks, who is a very solid defensive forward. Odlison out. Good fake on Makita. Odlison center ice. Over the line. Trying to go right through. Is taken down by two defensemen. Into the corner. Marks trying to clear it out. Vadnais pokes it back in. Backcourt now. Jarrett. Feed up to Makita. Out to Carl. And Chicago gets it to Marks. Carl over the line. Shot missed. Marks centers it. Tied up by Gilbert right at the crease. One of the rare sorties by Chicago in the third period. And in the second period, they had only 3 shots. But they were playing defensively as they are now. As the Bruins were in St. Louis with a 1-0 lead. And Chicago making it stand up 2-1.
Good defensive play by Russell and Jarrett. As Odlison came through the center, made a fine shift on Makita in his own end. And then tried to split the defense. Jarrett, who was playing hurt on that terrific check that was thrown by Johnny Busick earlier in this period, made a good defensive play.
Shepard wins the faceoff for Orr. Back for Shepard. Center ice, coming hard. Taken out of the play by Redmond. And White back to cover. Around for Pappen. Out, stopped by O'Reilly. Quick shot, blocked. Sims drives it up, blocked. And Redmond breaks it out. For Darcy Rhoda. For Redmond, checked by Sims, and he hauls him down. And O'Reilly to Marcotte. To Orr. Here he comes on Rhoda. Takes Rhoda out of the play, and it's ruled offside. Moving over the Chicago blue line. As Rhoda was back on defense that time. 6:26 left in the game. Chicago leads 2-1.
Goal scoring for Chicago both in the first period. Martin, his 20th of the year. Rhoda, his 13th. Boston's only goal so far in the second period. Shepard, his 5th of the year.
Face-off between Martin and Shepard. Shepard draws it back. Sims has to go in the Boston zone. Over to Orr. For Shepard. Get in wide of Tony Esposito. Marcotte on it. Back to Sims. The drive blocked, and Chicago out. Martin. Pappen carries. On his off wing. Blocked by Shepard. Now it goes to Rhoda, and the shot is a save. Darcy Rhoda well set up, 30 feet in front. And Gilbert the save. As Shepard starts it out to Orr. 5:50 left of the game. To Marcotte. In for Shepard. He missed the pass as he was hit and knocked down by Jarrett. Into the corner. O'Reilly gets it. All over him is Rhoda, though. O'Reilly still digging. Back for Orr. It's tapped out by Martin to the Boston zone. 5:27 left. Dallas Smith on the move. A pass in is stopped by Jarrett, and he clears it right out. Breaking up the play, Dale Talon breaking in on Gilbert and missed on the short side. Mackey has it on the other side. Centering pass blocked by Vadnais. Mackey on it again. Out of the corner, a backhander blocked by Dallas Smith. To Vadnais. Doesn't clear it. A shot. Saves. Gilbert off Mackey's backhander. Talon trying to keep it in with Russell. He's hit on the boards by Marcotte, and it's jammed up as Chicago put the heat on there. And Mackey and Talon first had a great chance. Faceoff will be just inside the Boston line. 4:54 left in the game. It is Chicago 2 and Boston 1.
There's Mackey.